Anakin's gone.
You decided to be back for the Obi series. What was behind that decision?
Just the nature of getting the invitation. I mean, Star Wars holds a very special place in my heart, and I enjoyed getting to sort of go back to being a fan again and just sort of watching these stories like everyone else. But you know, there was a part of me that missed it too. And so when I got the call, it was a very easy decision. And the fact that it was the Obi-Wan show with Ewan McGregor, who's a good friend of mine, and that I'd get to work with him again and swing a lightsaber with him again, that was just a thrilling invitation. And the director, Deborah Chow, is just amazing. So articulate about what Star Wars is. She understands these characters so well. She cares about these characters. So I just felt like I was in good hands with her, and I was excited to get to do more with the character.
That's so, I mean...
Yeah, it was...
It's not just the character, man. It's the character.
It's a good character.
It's not a good character, it's the character. It's like, if I have to think about the worst nightmares of my life, it
involves Darth Vader.
I remember waiting 2-3 months for my Darth Vader case.
The image of Darth Vader is very well known, and I remember even being a kid before I had seen the films, having a connection to this character, just being very taken with the physical presence and the voice. And I remember like scaring my little sister just trying to imitate the Darth Vader voice, and it worked. You know, there's something about the construct of that character that just is very effective.
Because I think it's more than just the look and the presence, and it's the story behind the idea.
And of course, the story,
connection, the simplicity of that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know, I think what was really interesting about what George Lucas did with the prequels is he kind of subverted all of our sort of expectations and understanding of this character when he went back to Episode 1 and introduced him as this very sweet young kid who just had a lot of promise and a lot of potential, and he really mapped out a very compelling character arc that was hopefully somewhat sympathetic. We understood what Anakin was going through and maybe why he was making some choices that perhaps weren't the best decisions, and the circumstances sort of surrounding his life. And it was a very understandable sort of fall to the dark side.
Yeah.
But it humanized him and made him a real person, and almost somewhat of a pathetic person in a lot of ways, you know. And you feel for Darth Vader now in a different way too.
Definitely.
It's this man trapped in this life that perhaps he didn't really want.
I like that you're saying, because it's suddenly I connected with what Tony Gilroy did with Andor, you know, and this idea of having to tell a story backwards, you know, to go to a prequel and then to go like, well, okay, we have an opportunity, you know, to make sure that this character you think you know today comes from something you would never imagine, you know, a past that you would never imagine for a character like this. And that's an interesting thing that happens with the universe of Star Wars, that, you know, it's so hectic and difficult to understand that, like, okay, it started in Episode 4, then there was 1, but then there's these things that are standalones, but are part of it, and it brings creativity at its best, you know, in a way, when you have to not imagining something from beginning to end, as simple as that, you know.
On Andor, you're a producer as well. And so what's that like? I mean, how involved are you as a producer? And what does your day look like on set?
I would say a good 15, 20 years ago, I started to be very much aware of what was happening before and after, and very interested in getting involved and being part of that. Sometimes acting started to feel, in a way, it alienated you from the actual process of making film, you know? And theater is the opposite. That's why I always think of theater as my reference, you know? In theater, you're there from the first read till the last night, you know? And you do it many times yourself, you know?
But as an actor, you can kind of get insulated in your character in a lot of ways.
In film, and then you arrive when most choices have been made, you know. You arrive when there's a set, when there's like an idea, when there's like designs, when there's a cast and a location. And it's nice to get involved from the beginning, from the moment where designs are just sketches and your questions and your comments can have an input, actually.
And I would assume you're that much more invested in the work you're doing as an actor too, because you've been a part of all of those decisions along the way.
And you arrive to a place and you know why you were there. You know why it's here and not there.
Right.
You know?
You're more informed.
And then you in a way help everyone else, because we have hundreds of speaking parts, you know, so many actors come in and out our show, and it's good that you can be there and make them feel safe, you know, and give them the information they need. It's a great feeling to know what you're part of. And in cinema, many times it can be the other way around, you know. You can arrive to the premiere and realize you were part of a film you didn't know you were doing. But I also think that this long format, for us, is 24 episodes, and it's going to be 4.5 years of our lives, you know.
Crazy.
So it's the only way also, because you have to own it. You have to, I mean, I took a flight last night to be here to talk to you, and I'll take a flight right now to go back to work because I care about this show and because it feels mine, and I am part of this family, and I want to defend what we do and fight to make it better, you know. In this long format also, you do need different people to be part of the production. Like here, the production designer is also an executive producer. Then there is 3 more producers, you know. So while Tony Gilroy is writing and looking at dailies, there's people on set shooting, there's people planning the next thing. And it's important that it feels like a machine that moves together, you know. It's impossible to do this long format in the way we learned cinema was made, you know, where there's just like a director that goes through every process. Here, you're promoting while it's out, while you're shooting, while you're preparing what's to come, all at the same time.
Look, you got the money, I got the box. What else is there to talk about?
I'll give you another 1,000 credits to tell me how you got it.
Another 1,000.
Done.
I do think that for me, Star Wars brought freedom in many ways. What did it bring to you?
It would be easier to count the ways that it didn't affect my life, because it just affected my life in so many ways. You know, it gave me an acting career. It gave me, you know, financial stability, which as a creative person is something that, you know, you can struggle with. And I think after I finished Star Wars, there was still a desire for me to sort of go back to kind of smaller, more independent filmmaking and just try to cut my teeth as an actor, because I was still learning a lot. So I went and did some smaller films, and I just sort of tried to not so much think about navigating a career as much as I was just trying to do work that appealed to me and play characters that I thought would challenge me and help me grow as an actor. And that was a great freedom. What Star Wars has really given me is a connection to all the people that love these stories. It's such a special thing that you can't fully appreciate unless you're sort of a part of something like that. But to have that sort of impact on an audience and have that sort of carry with them and stay with them. I mean, I meet people now and it makes me feel a little bit old, but they'll say to me, you know, like, Anakin was my hero when I was a kid, and now like my kid loves Anakin, and it's like this generational thing that kind of gets passed down, and that's, you know, really special. But how about you? How has Star Wars changed your life?
I would say that has been a shock in a good way, like the love around these projects and this universe, you know, the expectation, the awareness about your show before you even finish shooting. The anticipation
and the excitement.
It's so cool, because I've spent my whole life trying to get people's attention to say, hey, look, we have a film here, you might like it, you know, and here's the opposite, you know. It's not just that they're expecting the film to come out or the show, but they also want the show to be good, and they want to love it, and they want to feel part of what you're doing, and that connection you don't find anywhere else, you know. When you go to the Star Wars celebrations and you find out so many people took the time to watch what you did and are there to support you and to remind you that they'll be there when you have something else to show, it's magical. And you have to understand why it's happening, you know? You are being part of something else, because if you're expecting that to happen when you go to the theater and you go like, okay, I'm going to put this very strange play, and you suddenly go like, oh shit, no one came tonight.
That's a really, I think, astute thing. I mean,
Yeah.
and to be aware that you're a part of something that is bigger than you, I think is a healthy thing.
It is. And before I did Rogue One, I thought, okay, my life is going to change. And my life is the same, but it changed me. You know, my life is the same, but now I'm different. I see my life from a different perspective because I witnessed this, you know, because I was part of this. I still go and do theater. I still go and do the films I can in my country, or I have a film company where we produce documentaries, and I'm still doing all of that, you know, but now I see it from a different perspective. And this was a very, very interesting experience for me, because I grew up learning or thinking that it was impossible to do something really good, something you feel really proud, something that it has an artistic integrity, and be popular at the same time.
Right.
I grew up in the Mexican theater where they're all very snob and very like, that's impossible, you know. Fame and popularity happens when you sell out, you know.
Right, right.
And after doing Andor and Rogue One and being part of the Star Wars family, I realized you can have integrity, you can do things you care about, I would like to see as audience, and those things can be popular and huge at the same time. And that's something I learned with this experience.
It's a very unique thing, though, to be able to have your cake and eat it too, right? So we should be appreciative that we get to do that sort of thing.
I like that expression.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have your cake?
And eat it too. I
And
never
eat it
really
too.
fully understood it, because I was like, if you're going to have cake, why wouldn't you be able to eat it? But yeah, it makes sense. So after you finished Rogue One, did you get to keep any souvenirs or any anything that you took with you?
The jacket. I got the jacket of the character. I really worked for that. I made jokes about it since day one, you know, because when I got to the pre-production process, I remember having like 7 feedings before I even like got a chance to talk to Gareth, the director, you know, and it was all about the jacket. And I was like, I just got this job because this jacket fits me, you know. Clearly, it's about the jacket.
It's a good jacket.
Oh, and then the jacket had to be worn in Jordan at 45 degrees Celsius. I mean, it was impossible to wear it. Do you have the Vader outfit?
No, I don't have the Vader
You have
outfit.
a daughter. Are you ever gonna like get there in the in the outfit of
Have her
Vader?
see me in the well, it hasn't happened yet. I don't know.
How old is she?
She's 8 now. And
How longer can you?
She knows that I'm in Star Wars and that I play this character, but she's never seen it yet. So I'm getting to that. I'm trying to figure out the best sort of point of entry.
It doesn't sound easy, man. I would like talk to psychologists and get some advice.
There's some.
It's not gonna be simple.
There's some disturbing scenes that I'm reluctant for her to see at this age.
But now with the internet, you're gonna have to do it soon.
I gotta do it sooner than later. But it was really nice getting to do the Obi-Wan show and actually bring her to set. Not when I was in the Darth Vader outfit, but we did the flashback sequence and I got to play Anakin. And so I brought her to set for that, and she got to see me swing a lightsaber with you, and she was very concerned for my well-being. She was afraid that like one of us were going to get hurt. And
how do you guys do that?
The lightsabers stuff. It's a lot of training. You know, we practice for months, and you learn it kind of like a choreographed dance where your feet are going to go. And
but do you actually have a stick that becomes one day?
I mean, once we know the choreography, then we're having like a proper go at each other. And back when we were doing the prequels, the lightsabers were made of like this, some type of metal alloy. And after each take, they would be all warped and bent because we're really, you know. You're going for it. We're hitting pretty hard. And you miss every now and then too, and you get like a hit on the knuckles or something, and that always left a mark. But getting to swing a lightsaber is pretty awesome. And I got to keep a couple of them from one from the prequels, and then I got to keep 2 lightsabers from the Obi-Wan show, one Darth Vader and one Anakin, because they're a little bit different.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. You know, when we were shooting the first week or two of Rogue One, they gave us an amazing gift. You know, it was these designs of the helmets of stormtroopers. I'm not gonna say who, but an hour later, that was in all the social media. Like someone was like, "Oh, look at this thing they gave me," and that was the last gift we got in the show.
They're like, never again.
Never again. And we were like, come on. The secrecy, how do you live with that?
There are a lot of secrets in Star Wars, and it's tough.
And everyone wants to know them, because
everyone wants to know.
You might have tons of secrets that are about your past that no one wants to hear about.
People are genuinely interested.
Here, you can be in a conversation where someone is just there to get you to say something you're not supposed to say, and that's everything they want.
And it's tough for me because I like to share things, and you know, but no, I was always very tight-lipped about everything. And of course, when I first got the phone call that I was getting the part, they were like, "You can't tell anybody because we got to wait till we make an announcement." And I got on the phone right away, and I told my mom, I told my best friend, and so I do a pretty good job. But when it comes to like story points and stuff that's going on in the actual, you know, stories, I don't want to be the one who gives it away. No. And you want it to be that sort of fresh experience for the audience.
Yeah.
You know, so they do it for good reason.
I'm going to get serious, but I think that's another thing I really loved about the process, you know, about being so strict and rigorous about the secrecy. I grew up going to the cinema and knowing the name, the title of the film, and probably a name or two, and that was it.
And that's it, yeah.
And you sat down and you were impressed, surprised, for good or bad, watching the experience. And today you have an opinion before you haven't seen the show, you know? Before the film comes out, you already know the music, how it looks, what happened on set, and what others like about it, you know, which is quite sad, no? It takes a little bit of the magic away.
Yeah, I usually don't watch trailers just because you get so much from a trailer.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, they do a really good job of keeping the important stuff secret. And it's also kind of fun to be in on the secret too, you know?
To me, it connects with the way I watched TV when in the 90s, you know? This idea of something coming out every week, you know? And having to wait.
Yeah.
It's difficult for us because, I mean, you can't talk about it. No?
But it's a very effective format for telling a story. And
yeah.
The audience is very invested and eager for what, you know, for next week's episode.
It gives you a week to reflect.
To process and reflect and digest and
Or to watch it.
Or to watch it 5 more times, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, as soon as I finished Andor, I had to put on Rogue One again and get back into that. But man, I just want to say, you know, congrats on everything that you've done in Star Wars and in your career in general. But I think Andor is such an exciting character, and what you've brought to it is, I think, really special, and it's just really nice to get to be here with you,
it's
chat about it.
The other way around. Thank you so much, and not just the films, but Obi, you guys, like, you started it, you know, for us. We were there just right after you, and it was so reassuring to see your show work so well. And this idea of these new formats, these long formats, there's a reason for this, you know? I think it celebrates the passion and the intelligence of audiences, you know, when you give them something so rich, you know, a long film and good storytelling.
Agreed.
When I was asked to be part of Rogue One, your films, the weight and the richness of those films and that storytelling shaped me as audience, you know, as a kid and as a teenager and then as a young adult. It's when yours came out. And now that I am part of this, I understand how much that meant for me, you know, how much that story meant for me. And it's nice to have the opportunity to say it, you
so
know,
nice,
because it never happens. There's so many films I love that I would never be in front of anyone that was part of them and say thank you. So thank you for that.
That's so kind. But man, the feeling's so mutual, and I'm such a fan of the work that you've done and the work that you're continuing to do. You're like, you know, still filming the 2nd season of Andor, and just as a fan, so excited for it. And can't wait to see what's next. All right, man.